Let's share with you what the front pages of the papers are saying. And joining us today, we have Bode Badebo. He's an online editor, leadership newspaper. He'll be joining us for that. Okay, hopefully much later. Anyway, let's share with you the front pages on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Imo Kogi Bayelsa polls. Uzodinma Ododo win as Diri maintains lead. Opposition candidates, parties kick. Election rigged, but I won't waste my time in court. SDP's Ajaka, that's a wise choice. Says he won't waste his time in court.
Oh, yeah.
A wise man. PDP supporter killed, INEC officials abducted in Bayelsa. You know, it's actually quite sad to be able to make jokes and say he's a wise man, even though he thinks the election is rigged, but he's not going to contest it. It's telling of the fact that people are losing faith or have already lost faith in the system and in the ability to get justice.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I don't also, you know, want us to paint that picture because yes, people have, you know, have lost faith because their expectations were different in the 2023 elections, and you know, of course, you know, there are certain things that the courts ruled on that, you know, a lot of Nigerians were shocked. You know, the 25% Abuja was, you know, came as a huge shock to Nigerians. The allegations of forgery, the allegations of drugs, you know, in the United States, there's many things that, you know, that were dismissed. But at the same time, you know, there's also the argument that, you know, the court will only work with, you know, facts and, you know, and of course it's left for the accusers to prove beyond reasonable doubt and some of all those things. Sure. There's also people who got victory in court, you know, so we're not going to just say that, you know,
the court, umbrella,
exactly,
same umbrella
to say that the courts wouldn't, because, you know, for example, Thaddeus Atta of the Labour Party, you know, of course, he got his victory confirmed by the court. Among, you know, a few other people that got, you know, the courts to, of course, you know, declare them winners of the elections and overturn certain, you know, parts of the election. So it's not an umbrella statement.
Indeed. All right, still looking at the front page of the Daily Trust, this is quite a very uncomfortable one because we've been following up with stories like this in over a year. Crumbling over $54 million domestic airlines trapped fund. Trapped fund in the aviation space is a conversation that's not new. It's been ongoing. It's why certain airlines, or might be the reason why certain airlines have pulled out of flying this route. And if we continue like this, it's going to scream doom for our aviation sector. And we hope that Festus Keyamo knows what he's doing and, you know, does what he needs to do quickly to rescue the aviation sector. NNPC restores 275,000 barrels daily production. Without any actions, North would have been on fire, according to Matawale. 5 killed in Shagamu Benin Expressway crash. Oof. Is that a picture of the crash? That's sad. Or no, that's not. That's certainly the picture of what's happening in Palestine, in Gaza. We have at the top, and that's also a very sad one. Nigerian lawmakers most ridiculed, says Senate President Akpabio. Why are they most ridiculed, Osarogie? Can you maybe tell?
No, I have no idea.
Wow, very interesting there. I would think that, you know, he feels that Nigerian lawmakers are the most ridiculed, but they are answerable to the people of Nigeria. They are answerable to, you know, they're supposed to be there representing the best interest of Nigerians. And when they're not living up to the expectations, Nigerians will call them out. When it seems that they forget that they're there to work and it's almost like they're there to ball, Nigerians will call them out. So I understand that, yes, they might feel ridiculed, but I would see it more as Nigerians holding them to account because we don't trust.
Yeah, but the reason that they see being held accountable as ridicule
it's because they're not used to systems and structures.
Yeah, I mean, and they to a large extent, you know, a lot of them do not understand the role that they are meant to be playing there, and you know how they should be accountable to the Nigerian people. When you have, for example, you know, electoral processes that aren't, you know, that you cannot beat your chest 100% and say that this was a free, fair, and credible election and gets people in office, you know, through very, very, you know, shocking means, sometimes fraudulent means. They do not go to the National Assembly and then expect that they are answerable to the people that they didn't necessarily need their votes, you know, to get there. And so when they get there, you know, you can imagine the senator the other day, a National Assembly member, I don't remember, defending, you know, the 160 million SUVs and saying that yes, they needed to go to that the roads were bad. You know, and some very, very insane statements that you would hear from these persons. And so yes, they would see being held, you know, accountable, you know, as ridicule, because that's the way that they understand it. And of course, you don't expect a person who feels that you questioning his activities as National Assembly member, you don't expect that person, who sees you questioning that, to offer you any, positive thing in his time there. They also wouldn't be there to challenge the government, because these are National Assembly members in the National Assembly that didn't for once reject any loan bills or any or economic moves that were being made by the Buhari administration. Was sinking Nigeria deeper and deeper into the economic, bottomless pits that we currently are in. They didn't reject any loans. They didn't turn back any loans. They didn't reject any offers by the Buhari administration. They all sat down there and clapped their hands and signed whatever documents that were sent to them. And then expect that Nigerians would applaud them.
Nigerians are feeling the bite, or how things have gotten considerably worse. So yes, like you said,
it's a shame.
Things have gotten worse for Nigerians, and it just feels like Nigerians generally feel like the National Assembly does not have their back and is not there representing their best interests. So they will continue to call them out, and I don't see that happening anytime soon. So they might as well get to being quote-unquote ridiculed. Two more stories. Flights diversion, congestion at Abuja airport over runway incursion. I literally was just seeing this, story about the runway incursion, and Dr. Chioma Wakama had shared her story as well on being in the airport, the plane veering off the runway into the grass, and it was a very sharp break, and there was panic in the plane, and she said she could see the firefighters and fire stations stationed outside, but no move was made. It took about 30-40 minutes later before evacuation could start. Yeah. Imagine that the plane burst into flames. Yeah. So this is just to also remember that fan, need to prepare. Accidents do happen. We must prepare and ensure that we do not leave people to the mistakes that could have been avoided if emergency services were employed. Yeah. Anyway, final story. I'll ensure National Assembly creates constitutional role for traditional rulers, according to Tinubu. That's a conversation for another day.
Okay. Now, moving away from the Daily Trust, let's go to the Guardian newspaper, see what we can find there. On the Guardian this morning, big one on the screen says, Uzodinma re-elected. Ododo wins Kogi as Diri leads in Bayelsa. You can also then see figures of the election numbers there for the different states. Imo State, with the APC's candidate Uzodinma, 540,000 votes. I did mention earlier, that the presidential elections that arguably had a ton more people come out to vote and be a part of the process. Imo State's total votes, were just about 460. So it's a little shocking to see that APC alone in the governorship election is getting 540,000 votes. Samuel Wabunwa has 71,000, and Ethan Achonu has 64,000 in Imo State. In Kogi State, the APC candidate, of course, has 446,000, SDP with 259,000, and PDP's candidate Dino Malai with 46,000 votes. We're still waiting for Bayelsa State's results, and we'll, of course, share with you when that is officially announced. Falanon knocks Israel over collective punishment and crime against humanity. Imo gubernatorial poll, how not to conduct credible election. And also this morning, Tinubu, the challenge of moral leadership. Fuel subsidy, forex liberalization may drive inflation to 30% by December. And also, 45-year-old woman flees with daughters over circumcision rights. Social media regulation bill, gagging free speech or taming monster. That's an article you can read on the Guardian newspapers this morning. And also, reps to launch National Assembly Eye for effective oversight on MDAs. All right. These are the stories on the Guardian newspapers this morning. Let's see what we can find in other papers right next. After the Guardian, let's go to the Nation newspapers.
On the front page of the Nation newspapers, Abdulrazak mourns veteran Kannywood actor Samanja. Imo Kogi governorship polls, Uzodinma Ododo triumph. INEC keeps Bayelsa's leading candidates Diri in suspense. Achonu, Ajaka, Melaye reject elections outcome. Inflation rises on soaring food energy prices. Terrorists kill 100 in Burkina Faso attack, where Bokai seek alliances ahead runoff. Heavy fighting rages near main Gaza hospital. We see here 5 die in Ijebu-Ode Ore road crash. Oyo seals illegal mining sites. We also have here Nigerian equities return rises to 10.7 trillion naira. And we have custom raises exchange rate for importers, rate up by 12.29 naira to the dollar. And final story, naira to rebound with $34.8 billion diaspora remittances. Interesting that when it comes to time for diaspora voting, this will be one of the things they will say, oh, let's not really pay attention to diaspora remittances. But now they're banking on the naira rebounding as a result of diaspora remittances. Very interesting there. Well, that's all that we have on the Nation newspaper, and quite frankly, all that we can look at this morning.